Hey everyone, Adam Bergman here, tax attorney and founder of IRA Financial. And on today's live video, going to be discussing why you should consider buying Bitcoin in an IRA. Now, obviously, if you are buying Bitcoin, this video is going to explain from a tax standpoint, from a tax lawyer, why it makes tax sense to buy Bitcoin in an IRA. But before I do that, just as a disclaimer, I just want to make it clear that I'm not telling anyone to buy Bitcoin or to invest in Bitcoin. I'm not providing any investment advice. This is simply my opinion as a tax lawyer, why I believe it makes tax sense and is significantly tax advantageous to invest in Bitcoin in an IRA. So here we go. Cryptocurrency since 2014-21 IRS Notice was released. It is clear from an IRS perspective that Bitcoin is treated as property like stock and thus can be purchased in a retirement account, right? There's only three things you cannot do in an IRA. You can't buy life insurance, can't buy collectibles, and you can't do self-dealing type transactions outlined in Internal Revenue Code section 4975. Since cryptos is treated as property, as per notice 2014-21, you can do it in a retirement account. So I've been invested in Bitcoin in an IRA since around 2016. We were one of the first companies to offer cryptos to IRA 401k clients all the way back till around 2015 or so. I wrote a book. I was the first person to write a book on how to use retirement funds to buy cryptos. Started the book in 16. I think it was published end of 17, early 18. So definitely been focused on this industry. And this is the play. I don't know where Bitcoin will go in the next 1, 5, 10, or 15 years. I don't know. But my thought is that if the price of Bitcoin escalates significantly over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, why not have it in a Roth IRA? Right? And that's why I truly believe when you look at the savings intent of a Roth IRA, which means it's supposed to be long-term, right? When you put money in an IRA or a Roth IRA, the goal is you're not going to be able to touch it till at least you're 59 and a half, and hopefully even later. Plus, you can leave it to your spouse or your heirs without tax. And it's a long-term savings plan. Now, when you look at the potential for Bitcoin, I also believe it's a long-term play. Right now, there's just not a lot of proof of concept, proof of use cases for Bitcoin, other than blockchain technology and maybe some foreign transmittance. Not a lot of people are using Bitcoin to buy a slice of pizza, go to the mall and buy a pair of jeans or a pair of Nike sneakers. Just not really necessary. We live in the most powerful economy in the world. US dollars, the best currency in the world. Really don't need a second alternative currency. But some other countries do. And my belief is in the future that there will be a important use case, whether it's blockchain, whether it's Bitcoin, that will change our perspective, whether it's a reserve / currency that countries will use, like a gold reserve or something else. My bet is this. I believe the price of Bitcoin will grow exponentially in the next 10, 15, or 20 years. I could be wrong. That's my bet. And I'm betting that if it goes to 100, 200, 300, 400,000, I want to do it in a Roth IRA because I can lock in all the gains. So let me just explain the difference between owning Bitcoin in an IRA or Roth IRA versus owning it personally. If you own an asset, capital asset personally, like Bitcoin or stocks or real estate, if you hold the asset less than 12 months and you sell it, it's called short-term capital gains. And you pay essentially ordinary income tax rates. If you hold the asset longer than 12 months, that's deemed long-term capital gains rate, and you pay a reduced capital gains rate tax of approximately 15%. And if you're a high income earner, approximately 20%. So that's much lower than the highest ordinary income tax rate, which is in 2023, 37%. So obviously the goal is to hold cryptos long-term, more than 12 months, and get a reduced capital gains tax rate, but it's still subject to tax. If you bought Bitcoin in an IRA, then if you buy and sell it and trade, you don't have to worry about holding periods. You don't have to worry about your basis. You don't have to worry about what your gains are because there's no tax. All the gains would flow back into your IRA without tax. Now, the one thing to remember about a pre-tax IRA is that once you pull the money out over the age of 59 and a half, whatever you pull out is subject to income tax. Versus a Roth IRA, which is an after-tax account, meaning you do not get a tax deduction for making a contribution to a Roth IRA. You do with a pre-tax IRA. But so long as you're over the age of 59 and a half and the Roth has been opened at least 5 years, it's all tax-free. Yeah. That means if you bought Bitcoin at 25 and you sell it at 100 in 10 years, 15 years, 2 years, and you can wait till you're 59 and a half and the Roth's been open at least 5 years, you can pull all that money out tax-free. Now, even let's say you're 25 and you bought Bitcoin a couple years ago, and now you sell it when it goes to 100,000 in 5 years, the money still goes back to the IRA without tax. And then you can reinvest it in the IRA. Maybe you want to buy a different type of altcoin. Maybe you want to buy real estate. Well, you want to buy stocks. Maybe you want to buy gold. Whatever it is, it stays and grows within the IRA without tax. And then once you hit 59 and a half and the Roth's been open at least 5 years, you can pull everything out tax-free. So you don't pay ordinary income tax rates. You don't pay short-term capital gains tax rates. And you don't even pay long-term capital gains tax rates. You pay zero, zilch, zippo tax, which is the best legal tax shelter out there. Other than life insurance, the Roth IRA is the only way you can shelter income gains from tax. Okay, so on top of that, it serves as a very important estate planning tool. There's no required minimum distributions with a Roth IRA. With a pre-tax IRA, there is, meaning if you have a pre-tax IRA at $100,000 and you turn 73 years old, you're going to have to take in approximately 3 to 4% of that $100,000 into income each year. And on your passing, your spouse would take that IRA into his or her name and pay tax on whatever they pull out. And if you leave it to non-spouses, they'll have generally 10 years to pull that money out, subject to income tax. If you save through a Roth IRA, there's no required minimum distributions. You don't have to pull anything out during your lifetime. You could, again, it would be tax-free so long as you're over 59 and a half. The Roth's been open 5 years, but you don't have to. Let's say you don't need the money. And then if you pass, God forbid, your spouse could then put the Roth IRA into his or her name and then could either spend it tax-free or just save it. And then on the passing of your spouse, if it goes to a non-spouse, then your kids or brother, sister, aunts, uncles, whatever, church, they would have 10 years to pull that money out tax-free. So the money grows in the Roth IRA tax-free. You'll leave it to a family member and they have 10 years to pull it out tax-free. If you leave it to a spouse, your spouse could use it whenever they want or not and just let it grow without tax and then leave it to another heir who will then have 10 years to pull it out tax-free. So it's an amazing tax-free legacy tool. So getting back to the issue at hand is Bitcoin. I don't know where Bitcoin will be. I could be wrong, right? Bitcoin maybe goes to $1,000 in a year, 10 years, 15 years. I don't know, right? I can't read the future. I've certainly been wrong before. The point is, hey, if I'm right, there is such home run potential. Why not lock it in tax-free? If I'm wrong, okay, I'll lose the money. And not great because my Roth IRA will go down in value. I won't get a tax deduction for it because it's a retirement asset. I'll just lose the money in my IRA. My IRA will just be worth less money. But to me, the upside reward is so much higher and more valuable than the downside risk. So for me, of course, I haven't put all my money into Bitcoin, but I believe in diversification. I'm a lawyer. I'm not an investment advisor, so I'm not telling anyone how to manage their affairs or save for retirement. But what works for me is diversification. So I own stocks and ETFs. I have fixed income. I own real estate. I own gold. I even own some diamonds, and I own cryptos as well in my retirement account because I think that is the most suitable place for it because of the huge potential upside, right? I don't think the upside of Bitcoin's in the next 6 months, a year, or 2 years. Maybe it hovers in the 20s or 30s or teens. I don't really care. I'm interested where Bitcoin will be in 10, 15, 20 years. I'm in my mid 40s. So I really can't pull the money out till I'm 59 and a half anyways. So what really is interesting to me and what I'm excited about is where Bitcoin will be in 10, 15, or 20 years. Could be 0, could be 5,000, could be 20, could be 30. It also could be 100, 200, 300, 400. And if that's the case, then I just hit a massive, massive tax-free home run. Okay. Not just a home run where I got to pay 20% tax or 37% tax on, a tax-free home run, which is even more valuable. So again, what's worked for me is diversification, taking a little bit. And if you're going to invest in Bitcoin and you're a hodler, right? What's a hodler? Someone that holds. Most Bitcoin investors are hodlers. The people that are day trading are generally doing on altcoins, non-Bitcoin type cryptos. And again, if you are a day trader, you should certainly do it in a Roth IRA. Why? Because if you day trade with personal funds, you're going to pay ordinary income tax rates on your gains. You'll get losses too on the ordinary income tax bracket, but your gains will be ordinary income tax. Why? Because you're holding that asset less than 12 months if you're trading on a daily or weekly basis. But if you're doing it in an IRA or Roth IRA, don't have to pay tax, right? It's all deferred and goes back into the IRA. The only time you have to be focused on the 59.5 and the 5-year rule is if you want to pull a Roth IRA out and use it for personal purposes. So for day trading too, as an investment strategy, it works really, really well in an IRA and Roth IRA. Way more tax advantageous than doing it personally, where you're going to be paying upwards of 37% tax if you have high enough income versus zero if you do it in an IRA or Roth IRA. But for the hodlers out there, people like me, I don't really sell cryptos, at least not a lot of it, especially not Bitcoin. I sold some altcoins, but not Bitcoin. This is the way to do it. I personally believe, as a tax lawyer, it just makes so much sense to me. It just drives me crazy why more people don't do it. Again, I'm not telling people just take 50K, 100K, a million, 10K, and buy Bitcoin in your IRA. I'm just saying, if you're going to do it, you should probably think about doing it in an IRA or Roth IRA. Whether you do it through IRA Financial, we have an amazing platform where you can literally buy or sell on our app, or use another company. I don't care. The idea is that, hey, this video should hopefully get you thinking like a tax lawyer, right? Put your tax lawyer cap on, like I'm doing, and saying, okay, if I'm going to hodl this thing, I'm going to hold it a year, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. Why not buy it in a Roth IRA and just let it sit there? This way, if I do hit a home run, it's tax-free. My family is going to live off that money without tax. And I can leave it to my spouse. I can leave it to my kids as a everlasting legacy, and they'll be able to pull that money out tax-free. Whereas if you did it with personal funds, you did it in a pre-tax IRA, they would have to pay tax eventually on the assets you leave them. Now, you don't have to just leave cash to a spouse or to a child or brother, sister. You can leave an in-kind asset like stocks or even real estate or Bitcoin. So you don't have to sell your Bitcoin when you die. You can leave the IRA, the self-directed IRA or Roth IRA, to your spouse or to your kids, and then they'll just take over ownership of that asset. So really, that's it. If you look at Bitcoin's performance over the last 5 years, it's up almost 300%. Hovers between 250 to 290%. Where will it be in the next 5 years, 10 years? I don't know. Again, I have no idea. I'm not a mind reader. I'm not a medium. All I know is that I personally believe the upside and the reward far outweighs the risk of loss. Now, yeah, again, my Bitcoin could go down to zero. And I tell everyone, whoever's putting Bitcoin in an IRA or Roth IRA, expect to lose it all. Whether you put in $500 or $5 million, expect to lose it all. It's risky, it's volatile, it's an emerging technology. We're not really sure of its use case yet. Hopefully it emerges. We are sure of blockchain technology, but we're really not sure how that's going to morph into some useful technology for the future financial system that we will be living with. So it's a bet, but my idea is if you're going to bet that your winnings will be tax-free versus betting in a personal account where if you do win, you'll pay capital gains tax or maybe even ordinary income tax, depending on your holding period. So to me, it's just simple math. Risk reward, I'd rather take the reward tax-free than pay tax on it. And since IRAs and 401ks are meant to be long-term investment strategies, I personally believe they mesh very, very well with the cryptocurrencies, specifically Bitcoin upside, which is not going to be in the next year or 2 years. It's probably going to be in the next 7 to 15 years, at least if it becomes anything. If it doesn't, again, expect to lose it all. You have to go in to say, hey, I'm putting in 10K, 15K, 30K. I am okay losing it all, right? It's an aggressive investment. It's not as safe as buying Tesla stock or Apple stock. But again, nothing's guaranteed, right? I actually owned SVB, Silicon Valley Bank bonds. I lost it. I mean, it was the top 10 biggest bank, the top 12 biggest bank in the country prior to March 2023. I lost X dollars because it went bankrupt. Did I think Silicon Valley Bank would go bankrupt? No. Is Bitcoin riskier than Silicon Valley Bank? Yeah, sure. But just be prepared. Anytime you make an investment, things can go wrong. So don't invest more than you can lose or that you feel comfortable losing. But the upside to me and the reward is so great and so exciting that I would rather do it in a Roth and shelter all my gains from tax, so long as I can be patient and wait till I'm 59 and a half and the Roth's been open 5 years. I think it's just common tax sense and just resonates with me. So I just wanted to share my thoughts with you. Again, I'm not advising anyone to buy Bitcoin or cryptos or invest their IRA or 401k with it. I think you got to expect to lose it all. I think you have to understand its risks, its volatility. But if you're able to kind of swim through that and you like the upside and the potential technology and its use case like I do, I think it just makes sense to buy it in an IRA, specifically a Roth IRA, so you can shelter all the gains from tax. And if you hit that home run, it's going to be like a tax-free grand slam because all that money will go back to your IRA without tax. You can then pull out the money tax-free in a Roth IRA so long as you're over the age of 59 and a half and the Roth's been open at least 5 years. And then you could leave it to your family, whether it's a spouse or a non-spouse, and then they would have the ability to pull that asset out or the cash out tax-free, which is even a greater legacy that you can leave. You don't have to stress about, oh my God, they're going to pay 30 or 40% tax on everything I leave them. That means it's really a discount to what I really want to leave as a legacy because they're going to have to pay 30, 40% tax. Here, you know, whatever dollar you leave can be pulled out tax-free. And again, if you look at the potential projection of the value of Bitcoin, I just think it connects so well with the long-term savings approach of an IRA. Things obviously can not go as planned, but if they do go as planned, then you're going to hit a tax-free grand slam. And I think that's super rewarding, and obviously it makes so much tax sense. So there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I appreciate all the support. Appreciate you guys hanging out. I've done a bunch of blogs and different podcasts on this topic, but I'm just a firm believer that if you have the ability to buy an asset that has risk but also huge upside, it makes sense to at least consider it in a Roth IRA, assuming you can handle, you have the appetite for losing that asset or those funds as well. If you guys have comments, questions, leave them. Love hearing from you. Try to do this live video every couple of weeks. So subscribe, you'll get notice when I go live. If you're a client of IRA Financial, you will get notifications through our newsletter. If you're not a client of IRA Financial, what are you waiting for? We're the best. We know what we're doing. We've been doing this 13 years. We've got 20-something thousand clients, over almost $3 billion in assets. And we don't just set up. We have an amazing ongoing consulting, compliance, tax reporting, tax filing service that we just handle everything from A to Z, record keeping, admin, from an IRS standpoint. So you have nothing to worry about. You can focus on just making great investments, sitting back and relaxing, and we'll handle everything else. So thanks again for hanging out today. I hope your summer was great. Now we're all back to the grind. So hopefully this video just offered a bit of a reprieve and some at least interesting thought provoking ideas on using a Roth IRA to buy Bitcoin. Otherwise, take care and thanks a lot.